I got to ask an interesting question. Are Olympians always the best athletes to represent said country? That's a very tricky question because depends on the context of the sport. Now, sometimes in basketball, as you saw with the past Olympics last summer, Jaylen Brown didn't get to participate. Jason Tatum got limited action, which caused a rift with Steve Kerr, the Golden State Warriors head coach, and he was the coach of the Team USA team. So it can definitely cause friction and tension. Um, does it mean that the best players, and see again, we're in a day and time in the NBA where more players from overseas are the best players. A guy like Jokic who represents where he's from, and Giannis, and so on and so forth, and Shea Alexander too. So does it mean that you're getting the best Olympians when you represent? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Um, there was a time that you could say that. There was a time you could say that. You can't say that no more because it's different. Different sports create different lanes, just like in baseball. But I will say this: baseball is a great example. Yeah, great American-born players, but you've had other players come from overseas in different places that were great. So it's hard to say that the homegrown is better than players coming from other places. It really is. How do you fundamentally say that? And then when you have track and field and you have uh, certain other sports, native countries, they all represent. But when we're talking about, say, for instance, baseball on the world level, basketball on the world level, you can't say that because you're not getting the totality of it, like just in the American context. You know, track and field, usually you can say, hey, this is the best runner. This represents swimming. You can say that. Tennis, you can say that, because that's how countries represent. So the major sports that are the ones that are front and center with the most money, ironically, you can no longer say that about. I think that makes for an interesting debate and argument. The best Olympians from said country, are they the best that represent? Yeah, no, because you're playing with what you got. So how do you put that in totality? How do you break that down? What's your running point? What's your starting point? What's your fine point of that? It's a very tricky proposition because again, it's not just black and white. It's gray in there. There's a lot of different connotations involved. So it doesn't mean that that it's just as it would.